Starting probably in the 3rd or 4th grade, I became a Girl Scout, and that's probably the place where I first had my experiences with people living with disabilities, because my Girl Scout troop adopted a troop of young girls who lived with developmental disabilities. So that was one of the pivotal experiences in my life that sort of put me on a trajectory for the service that I've enjoyed for all these years. My mother had gone to Fresno State, so it was an important place to me. I went there to be a physical therapist. It didn't exactly work out, and I ended up in recreation therapy, but that offered me lots of different opportunities, and I think that's probably what I was supposed to be. One of the things that I learned most at Fresno State was about what we today call diversity, equity, and inclusion. It was just an opportunity to meet different people, see different cultures, as well as just expanding my knowledge in so many areas. And that really spilled over when I started working with people with disabilities. And I've worked really hard in my life to make sure that everybody gets treated the same. While I was at Fresno State, and then later on, as part of my career, I was very involved in wheelchair sports, wheelchair basketball particularly. I was at a wheelchair basketball tournament and met this man who was very nice and helped me out in a difficult situation. And 3 months later, we got married, and I moved to Little Rock, Arkansas. There were very few opportunities for recreation therapists there, so I went to work as a case manager for the Arkansas Spinal Cord Commission. When I got to Arkansas, there was no primary seatbelt law. We fought long and hard with lots of strong legislators and lots of disability advocates to make that happen. Another of my really exciting experiences was working to pass the Americans with Disabilities Act. The Civil Rights Act didn't include people with disabilities. So this was the Civil Rights Act 30 years later that provided people with disabilities with basic needs. It turned out that the chairman of the Small Business Committee in the Senate was run by an Arkansan who we knew well because his daughter had had a spinal cord tumor when she was young. And so I talked him into at least giving a hearing for the ADA. So it was a small hurdle, but it was one of the first hurdles that it had to get through. So to stand on the lawn at the White House and watch President Bush sign the Americans with Disabilities Act is probably one of the most exciting things that's happened to me in my career. I left working at the Arkansas Spinal Cord Commission. I took a very early retirement, primarily because I'd lost my husband and I was ready to move back to California. But I always felt like, maybe I hadn't given enough. So now I'm the Director of Research and Education at Paralyzed Veterans of America. I don't know if I'll step out of working in recreation therapy and working with the National Wheelchair Basketball Association anytime soon, but my big goal now is to train people to do the things that I do and to make sure that there's someone who will carry on the work that I've done. I love the fact that I can have impact on people in very small ways. I left Fresno State thinking that I would do big things, and instead I've done a lot of little things that have made big things happen.